It's the state of Victorian greyhound racing and the stories behind the sport. This is RSN 927's Off the Leash.
Georgie Ferrugia, hello to you.
G'day, Gareth. How are you?
Plenty to discuss. Alan Clayton will be my special guest tomorrow on RSN Central, of course, the CEO of Greyhound Racing Victoria, and there is plenty to discuss with Alan, including the decision there by GRV for this big prize money increase this financial year of $5.3 million, which is terrific news for the sport, and I would imagine as well it's put a smile on the face of everyone involved at GOTBA who have been pushing GRV pretty hard for these prize money increases.
Yeah, and if you rewind a week ago, Gareth, it didn't look too great, did it?
No.
The two parties were still at loggerheads. It really came out of the meetings suggesting that there wasn't much gained from them. But look, it's good that they've got together and the joint release came out a few days later. So as you said, an extra $5.3 million in prize money. Now the question will be how it will be distributed. There will be a meeting later this week, Gareth, I think, with some participants in GRV and members of GOTBA to work at the best way forward. And I think it's really important that they've actually opened it up now for people to have their say. Gut feel, Gareth, would suggest, especially considering the last increase went to some of those Tier 3 races where no race is worth under $1,000 for winning greyhounds. I'd say that Metro prize money would be high on the agenda. I'm not sure what you're hearing. I just get a feel that would be, a little bit of the $5.3 million heading that way, and then possibly some other cash for some of the races that we see regionally, which, it'll be interesting.
Well, this is the hard part about all of it, because everybody in the sport believes that they deserve a pay increase. Now, the Tier 3 greyhound trainers have been putting on a lot of the show of recent times when you have a look at the amount of races that are Tier 3 contests now in this state. How much do they deserve? I think the big one that I think that everybody will nearly agree on is that I think, especially for the Tier 3 trainers, $1,000 minimum to the winner, I think is fair enough. But trainers that have a runner deserve to have something in their back pockets when they go home. So maybe if you're unplaced, it's a $50 to $100 guaranteed starting price or prize money that you get. So if you turn up and you run last, you still get $100, George. In the lower grades anyway for those trainers, the hobby trainers, you could say.
Look, obviously, the trainers do get some sort of starter's fee for every dog that they put in. But, the unplaced one is an interesting one, and I've seen it mentioned on the press release. So you think that that's probably forward in their minds. Obviously, that's something that's not going to help owners of greyhounds. Obviously, it's something that the trainers will deserve to keep the unplaced prize money. I'd suggest that on a 50-50 basis will work for first, second and third for owners of the sport. So, it's going to be interesting. And like you said, there's no way you're going to please everybody with this sort of stuff. But I think I think you'll see an increase in Metro prize money. This is just, from what I've seen from trainers or what I've heard from trainers in the last 18 months, I think it's one that they've been knocking on the door for GRV for a while. So, it'll be interesting. This meeting, I think, is happening this week, and that board meeting will happen in the middle of September. So we don't have to wait too long, and I believe then the increases will take place on October 1. According to that press release. So,
who drives this meeting? Is it GOTBA? Are they speaking on behalf of their members there, or is it every trainer gets to say, okay, this is where I think the prize money should go? Because as you point out, they won't be able to please anyone, and the different participants from all basically walks of life when it comes to greyhound racing, from the professionals to the hobby trainers, all have a different point of view in a way where this prize money should go to or should head to.
I don't think it's just necessarily GOTBA. I think that there is going to be a wide range of trainers and other industry participants that are going to need to put forward their input. And that, like we said, it might not just be trainers. It'll also be some of the owners in the sport as well. So, look, it's an interesting space, but at least we're on the right track, Gareth. And as we said, there are other issues that needed to be ironed out between GRV and Gotba. But as we said last week, I think the prize money one was the one that was going to slowly break down the wall, and then hopefully some consultation going forward with some other stuff as well. And look, it's not going to be a perfect world. There are going to be things that people will still bang heads about. We understand that, and that's, I think, still a healthy way forward, and discussion needs to be had, and we can move on.
The Arrow, did you enjoy the Arrow, which was a match racing concept there held down the straight at Hillsville? And Samboraloo was successful in the first ever running of the Arrow. What
I liked about it, Gareth, was I think that anyone that asked Jason Thompson, or anyone that was willing to listen, he was very, very bullish about the chances of Zamboraloo. We heard James Vandermaat speak about it in the lead up to the Arrow, where Zamboraloo certainly trialled well in the lead up there. And obviously he's a Healesville Cup winner. We've got the Healesville Cup coming up soon as well for this year. But yeah, look, I suppose the odds were a little bit better considering greyhounds like Ferdinand Boy were in the race, Gareth, who went very well and almost knocked off Zamboraloo in regards to the time. There was hardly anything between them, but a fantastic effort from Zamboraloo, who came into the race with two very fast wins at both Cranbourne and Ballarat, and he got the job done. He pushed his prize money above $100,000. He's been a pretty handy greyhound. It doesn't seem like he's finished just yet.
Did you enjoy the Snow Queen there at the Meadows on Saturday night or Saturday twilight?
Yeah, look, we've got to give a hand to our mate Jess Tubbs. She came up with the idea of this race a couple of years ago, and I think the inaugural winner was a champion in Uphill Jill.
You there, Georgie? He might have just dropped out. Georgie Ferrugia giving Jess Tubbs a plug there from the Meadows, talking about Sweet Petite's impressive victory in the Snow Queen on Saturday. So we'll try and chase up George and see if we can get him back. In the time, we might just go for a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll see if we can get Georgie Ferrugia up and running. And is he back? I think we'll take a break and then we'll come back with Georgie Ferrugia in just a moment. We've found Georgie Ferrugia once again. George, we're just having a chat about Sweet Petite's victory in the Snow Queen, and you were singing the praises of Jess Tubbs, of course. The two I see these days behind Ash Baker, I would imagine, at the Meadows.
Oh, I think she's running the joint, let's be honest.
100%.
Yeah. She's doing a good job. Now, look, she came up with the idea of the Snow Queen, and as we said, the inaugural running of it was taken out by Uphill Jill, who was an absolute gun, but it was really good to see Sweet Petite win, Gareth. She's racing in very, very good form. She's trained by Daryl Holmes, who's a guy I've known in the industry for a little while. He stood a couple of very, very good greyhounds that started back in the 90s, including Black Shiraz, and it looks like he's got a good one here in Sweet Petite. As I said, she's won 2 in a row, but her last win last week against Zero Cool was very impressive. She's starting to put it all together to that first marker, Gareth. She went 5.05 and 30-21 overall, and she's got a bit of a future, Sweet Petite, so well done to Connections there.
And the feature racing continues at the Meadows this weekend.
Yeah, it does. We've got heaps of the Group 3 Top Gap Video Cup, and you're actually on track to watch a couple of probably the leading contenders live, Gareth. You'd think a greyhound like Mapunga Ruby will go into that series very, very hard to beat. Hank the Hustler, another one, of course. So you'd think Jeff Britton will be able to get a few finalists through. Mapunga Ruby is just taking that next step, isn't she? I mean, she's just been incredible. Be interesting to see if Gypsy Wyong is in that field. I've been banging on for a little while that I think she's a potential star over the staying trip when she gets there. Of course, she raced over the 600-metre trip and was defeated by Mapunga Warrior in that match race that you've seen live, Gareth. So, yeah, we're looking forward to her stepping up. But at this time, right now, at the moment, Mapunga Ruby's one of the most exciting stayers going around, and you'd think she would go in as a short price favourite, whatever heat she goes into.
And the Healesville Cup up the straight, always an entertaining race because it adds a little bit of a different perspective when it comes to greyhound racing.
Yeah, it does, mate. And again, you know, we've seen a lot of the leading contenders go through the Arrow. You know, Zamboraloo, Ferdinand Boy, Hilltop Jonah is another one who wasn't in the Arrow but has been racing so well up the straight. So I think we're going to get some very, very good heats there. You'll notice a couple of greyhounds who've been racing in the circle go to Healesville just to have a look before this big race. And, of course, it's worth $50,000 this year. So heats this Sunday, the the final the Sunday after. A shame we can't get people to the track, but it's going to be a ripper meeting.
Georgie Fruge is with me with Off the Leash. George, just a quick tip in the Hillsville Cup. I know with the heats coming up, who do you think the dog is to beat there? And Traralgon's not far away, racing recommencing there in that part of Gippsland.
Yeah, look, mate, I'll still stick with Ferdinand Boy up the straight, even though he was defeated on times by Zambora Lou. I think he certainly goes into the series as one to beat. There's some question marks, I believe, over the fitness of Dr. Tucker, a greyhound we would love to see race in the series. So if he goes around, watch for him as well. And, yeah, I just got an update with Traralgon. There was something on the GRB website about it. Look, like a lot of things in life, just been delayed a little bit by COVID, Gareth, but we believe that the first meeting will be towards the end of the year. And I urge people just to go on the website and have a look at some of the photos and the video that was taken of this uniquely styled track that's got a bit of a J-curve. So essentially it's a massive run into the first corner, Gareth, and then the turn for home and then the home straight in front of the crowd when we eventually get crowds. It's something different. They'll be racing over 4 distances, 500, 450, 395 and 350. I'll be interested to see how it plays out as a telecast and how it looks on TV. But I tell you what, that 500 is going to be a tough run. It's a long straight, and so there's going to be a couple of greyhounds certainly looking for the line. It's a unique design. It's something different, and hopefully it all goes well at Traralgon as we head towards the end of the year.
Thanks for that, George. Appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Talk to you tomorrow.